He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Attention, citizens of fair Gotham! Bat Minute Forever is back once again. This is the show that is beamed directly into your earlobes 3 days a week. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And I am getting back to work, Edward. Their co-host, Niall McGowan.
Don't let everyone know your pet name for me, Edward. That's private, Niall. That's private. We can't.
I was going like, is your middle name Edward? And I realized I have no idea what John's middle name is.
I haven't got a middle name.
Oh.
Is that the answer to the riddle?
That's the answer.
But if it turned out like John's middle name was Edward, and I could have been making John Edwards jokes this whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, I would have been missing out on years of this stuff.
No middle name. I've often thought about giving myself one. But I kind of like that I don't have one.
I recommend Danger.
Danger. But anyway, we should probably bring up the 2 other voices you can hear. I'm sure you know who they are by now, though. We've got Liz Whitaker and George Hendricks.
Our actual living voices. Yeah. We are live.
We've reduced you just to audio form, though. You
Yes,
no longer
I
have
no
a
longer-
corporeal, physical essence.
I exist only on the astral and audio planes.
Our brains have been uploaded into digital form, pure, and then we will live forever in the ether and in the internet.
This is minute 15, and the minute starts with Enigma's apology, and it ends with him stimulating us. Our brainwaves, that is.
I do have to ask here, though, because now this is our introduction to Jim Carrey in the movie. Mm-hmm. I have to ask, like, what are your guys' memories of like where Jim Carrey came from? Because to me, like, I was quite young when when he was in his heyday.
Yeah.
And I just remember one of my brother's friends bringing over a VHS copy of Ace Ventura.
Yep.
And it was the first time, first time I'd ever heard of this guy. And then within days, it seemed like he was just everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like he was the biggest thing in the world. But I don't know, because maybe you guys living in America.
I guess you didn't get in Living Color, the TV show.
No, but the thing is, I always assumed, because all the big comedy actors from the 80s and 90s were all SNL people. Yeah. So I assumed Jim Carrey was an SNL guy.
Yeah.
And then looking into it, it's like, no, he's not. It's not at all. He's in Living Color. Yeah, he's in a completely, he was from a sketch comedy show.
Yeah, it was called In Living Color. It was on Fox. It was very urban hip hop based. So, I think Heavy D did the opening intro. Jennifer Lopez was one of the Fly Girl dancers who would come out and do like an interlude every now and then. But yeah, like Damon Wayans and David Alan Grier and Will Sasso and all these guys came from this area. Living Color. Well, so Jim Carrey was also on there for several seasons as like Fire Marshal Bill, and he had like really wild manic characters that were recurring favorites. But
I could see him really suiting a sketch comedy show.
Mm-hmm. I have seen sketches of him, which I've now realized were from In Living Color, where he was impersonating Snow, the informer.
So
it was Jim Carrey rapping, but he was going on about like how white he was and stuff, basically. And but I remember at the time and like, seeing that sketch, I'm like, this guy's very clearly a talented comedy actor and stuff.
A licky boom boom down.
But yeah, so was he a known entity in America? Then you all saw the rise of Jim Carrey coming. He wasn't just like out of nowhere.
No, yeah, it was a slow thing because he was like on Living Color, and then he was on Ace Ventura, and then that's what really kind of like clicked it. Because like once he got it in the big screen and that, which I remember seeing that in the theater. Once that pushed him into the limelight of everybody, because everyone had seen him on Living Color, but now saw him in an actual movie and like, this translates, and everyone went to go see it. And then Dumb and Dumber happened, and so he was just sort of like, he's the one to watch. And then next thing you know, he is like the definitive comedy voice of the 90s.
Well, was Ace Ventura a character he did, or was that came out of nowhere?
That was just for the movie. That didn't exist prior to that, I believe.
Because it's a weird character to come up with.
It does seem like a sketch comedy character.
Yeah.
Like, oh, one of the guys, he's a detective,
does
but he
it.
only looks after like
Pets.
really minor
Yeah.
things, like your pets.
He finds pets, but then uncovers a mystery involving a Super Bowl ring and pets.
Would be remiss though, just from looking into In Living Color, which I've only ever seen that sketch of Jim Carrey doing Snow. But would be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that it also featured Marlon Wayans,
Yep.
who of course was down to play Robin in Batman Returns at one point.
Oh, wow.
And so it could have had if they had done that, and then he was in this movie as well. We could have had a reunification of Jim Carrey and Marlon Wayans.
But would he have had a sexy earring?
Well,
Probably.
I hope so.
Actually, now I think about it, I think he might have been off the show by the time Marlon Wayans came around, because obviously, like, younger brother Damon Wayans and all that sort of stuff, and I think Jim Carrey left long before he showed up, so they probably didn't work together if he was on the show.
Well, way to ruin everything, George.
Sorry.
Screw you.
I think also because the show also featured Rosie Perez, who
Yeah.
of course is now playing Montoya in Birds of Prey. And I think it was all. I think the whole show got started because of this, by Keenan Ivory Wayans due to the success of "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker,"
Yeah.
which was, long-time listeners to Batman it will know was on the front of the VHS I had of Batman from 1989. So it's all tying in together.
Everything's
kinda.
connected.
But do you remember, Liz, your first encounter with Jim Carrey, or was it you just like you'd rather forget?
It was almost definitely Ace Ventura related, and it was almost definitely because I was in, like, I don't know, 4th or 5th grade at the time, and so everybody was just running around and yelling Jim Carrey quotes.
Yeah, I was one of these kids, not in your school.
incessantly. I was definitely pretty young when he became a household name.
It almost makes you feel bad for parents of the 90s.
Oh.
Just like, well, that Jim Carrey
What a
guy
terrible-
gets
Well,
on.
between him and Urkel and all those,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the catchphrase shows.
Yeah. Just so many yellings of annoying phrases.
Constantly trying to work like a glove into every sentence.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bit in the novelization of this movie, too, where, Peter David, the guy who wrote it, was clearly told, oh, Jim Carrey's playing this part. Because, apropos of nothing, he just includes a scene of the Riddler stealing something and then saying, somebody stop me.
There you go.
And it's just like, oh, dude, come on.
I used to say that all the time.
Smoking.
Smoking.
Yeah.
That's something I've used before.
Well, the thing is, though, apparently his relationship with Joel Schumacher goes back quite a bit, though. Because, before In Living Color, he was around for a while. Because, Earth Girls Are Easy and stuff with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis, which I'm still stunned was after The Fly.
Yeah.
Like, you think, like, this must have been the cheap thing they made when they couldn't get anything else. But it's like, no, they had made The Fly.
I mean, well,
at
look
this
at
point.
no, wait, come on, look at Halle Berry. She won an Oscar and then turned around and did Swordfish.
And Catwoman.
And
Catwoman.
Exactly,
At least they feel like proper movies, though. Whereas Earth Girls Are Easy feels like some guy made it on the weekend.
There were so many movies back in the 80s that were like that, though.
Yeah, true.
But apparently Joel Schumacher met Jim Carrey. Well, he knew him from doing stand-up comedy in L.A. back in 1983, and then Jim came in to audition for DC Cab, the Joel Schumacher movie, produced by John Peters, actually.
Great film. Favorite of the show.
Oh yeah, the Mr. T vehicle, DC Cab. And apparently he said that he had already cast a bunch of roles, and then Jim Carrey came in, and he was just like, this guy is like, he's so good at these big, broad types. I can't just cast him as like an extra or like a random guy with one line. I can't fit him in that part. I don't think he would work that way. So he just kind of kept him in his back pocket. And he was like, oh, okay, maybe someday.
He called
And
on
then-
him for this.
Yeah, I think it was then eventually. He said it just after Ace Ventura came out. He met him and he was like, would you be interested in playing the Riddler? As Jim Carrey was getting ready to go off and do Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
And Jim Carrey was just like, yes, I would love to play the Riddler. So he was very, very enthusiastic about it. Of course, other people would remember that the guy who was also supposed to be in place to play the part was Robin Williams. And
What is it with Riddlers translating into like my not favorite comedians at all?
Oh, you weren't a fan?
I never have been a fan. I don't know. So here's the thing. Robin Williams and Jim Carrey are both actors that I only enjoy when they're playing roles that are not themselves.
Oh, like a 1 hour photo kind of a thing.
1 hour photo, Goodwill Hunting. I'm perfectly happy with Robin Williams in that. But anything else where he just gets to go be Robin Williams, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I like.
You're not into the manic thing.
Yeah, I hate it.
I think I'm not into the manic thing because it feels painfully real about like it's too close to tapping into their mental
Psychoses.
illnesses.
And,
Yeah. It's like
exploiting it almost.
no, it's just I recognize it and it is uncomfortable.
Okay. Yeah. I see that.
It's
That makes
accurate too, because obviously Robin Williams had his battles with his own mental illnesses, and Jim Carrey is very open about the fact that he suffers from depression as well.
Yeah.
So you're not wrong there.
Yeah. Hey,
But it's,
use it to make a big load of cash, though, like Ace Ventura.
That's
did.
what I'm doing wrong.
I think that's always the one they throw out, as the factoid about, Tim Burton's Batman 3, which is, we've kind of covered early on. It's like, that was nowhere near as far along as some people seem to think it was.
Absolutely
it was
not.
It was only sort of the vaguest whisper in the air. But yeah, I think that, there was studio plans for Robin Williams. I think they talked to him. But people who listened to the first season will remember that Robin Williams was used as a pawn by Warner Brothers when they wanted Jack Nicholson for the Joker. They always only wanted Jack Nicholson for the Joker. And when Jack was like, I don't know, maybe, they cast Robin Williams only to sort of invoke a reaction from Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
So he went, oh yeah, I will do it.
I can't
And then-
express how much I would have disliked Batman 89 if Robin Williams had been the Joker. Like, if you
He
could
might
pick
have played
one
it
thing
different.
that would ruin this amazing movie for me, it would be that casting choice.
Ooh.
I wonder though how he would have played like the early Jack Napier parts though. Like I can't imagine. Actually, I can kind of imagine now in a post-insomnia world. I can imagine him doing like you look fine. Like him turning sternly and like I don't ask and stuff. But because the role is so it fits Jack Nicholson like a glove.
Yeah.
I did it, John. I worked it.
You did it.
Yes.
But
We can go home now, guys.
Yep, that's it. That was the end of the show. I mean, the whole show. We're never going to
That's
beat
it.
that.
It was done.
We just wanted
Yay!
to get that in.
I get to be on the final episode.
Wrap it up.
But yeah, post that, the fact, it's hard to imagine anyone but Jack Nicholson playing that part. But like because they let Robin Williams know, like, oh yeah, you've got the part, you're the Joker, and then went psych. We only used you to get Jack Nicholson. He refused to do Warner Brothers movies throughout the 90s
Well,
because
that's
of that
fair.
snub.
Good for him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
way to stick
yeah.
to your guns, man.
And I think he was on the kind of cusp of like been saying like, oh okay, maybe the Riddler, okay, that sounds cool. And then there's some different varying reports. Some people say that he left because he wasn't happy that Tommy Lee Jones was cast. And so that prompted him to go off. Other people said he was still upset about the way Warner Brothers treated him. So he just kind of led them down the talks of like negotiations before he went, psych, and walked away. But according to Joel Schumacher, he's very much like, no, I only ever wanted Jim Carrey. So it's kind of like, it could be partially urban legend stuff where like Joel Schumacher was always gunning for this one guy. The studio wanted Robin Williams but couldn't get him. But it was only ever going to be Jim Carrey. But
Yeah.
I'll keep looking in to see if I can get any more definitive proof. But most articles that are properly looking into it are just like, yeah, it's kind of one person says this thing, one person says the other thing. It's just sort of all over the place.
Yeah,
so.
the impression I got was the studio were gunning for Robin Williams, and Schumacher's like, nope, got my own idea.
But of course, at the same time as this movie was out, the Riddler was been played on TV by one John Glover, who George Hendricks will definitely remember from Gremlins 2: The New Batch. He did a fantastic job as the Riddler. Of course, he played him in the way I kind of always imagine the Riddler. It's like, oh, he's a really smug, unlikable asshole from the get-go.
I think, and like, I know it's problematic, the show with Gotham. I think their portrayal of the Riddler and Edward Nygma is great. I love that guy.
He's one of the good things in it.
John Glover plays him in a very like continuously smug manner. This, as we talked about the last minute, version of Edward Nygma seems like he's a total dweeby loser and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going far enough for me, because they essentially remade this plot line years later in a little movie called Iron Man 3, wherein Guy Pearce was Edward Nygma. And they really let you knew how much of a loser the guy was, because Guy Pearce shows up, he's like hobbling, he's got a cane and stuff.
That's a bit too much, though.
He's like acne
Well, true,
riddled,
but they had to
he's got
give
the
you a
long
before
hair.
and after to show you what the Neogenesis or Genesis, whatever the MacGuffin thing is called in that.
Ugh.
Yeah. But they had to give you the before and after type thing. But also, even his portrayal as that, it wasn't like he was really smart, and you could see there was like an anger underneath him, no matter, even if he was like, because of his situation, you know, he's so unfortunate with his disabilities and that sort of stuff. So I think the way they played that was more this, I don't know, he's so simpering, and he does, it's cloying, and it drives me nuts.
I think maybe I've been too simplistic in my own mind, because it's like I need the signs and signifiers more, though, because like from when I look at this guy, it's like, well, he clearly has got he's clearly very intelligent. He's got a good job in this massive this massive company, and it's like a big deal. You know, if you work for Bruce Wayne and you're in this department, you're probably doing pretty well for yourself. He's a good-looking guy and stuff.
He's what now?
He's a guy. I think he's no
Chris
Val
O'Donnell.
Kilmer.
No,
He's no Chris O'Donnell.
With an earring.
But he said, like, even with all this, you know, the floppy hair and the glasses, I'm like, I can imagine this guy in a date, like in reality, would be quite well to do. It's like, oh, he's got. Well, that's the
Could
thing,
have a
though.
nerdy girlfriend, you know.
Yeah, the thing is, like, you know, we see later on, though, Wayne Enterprises, I guess, doesn't pay well because he's living in like a hovel and stuff. But maybe that's the real bad guy here is actually Bruce Wayne. He's like, he ain't playing his employees enough, but he's just.
Yeah, we haven't actually said where we are at the start of this. So we've
Oh,
got
yeah, sorry. How far in the episode are we?
We're back with him creeping
We're in Batman
on
Forever,
our
minute
Brucey.
15.
Minute 15. Yeah, Nygma's creeping on our Brucey. You know, he needs to chill, man. That wasn't a reference to Kit, who does our theme song and his other song, Chill, Man. But, he finally releases Bruce's hand and apologizes. Right, I hate handshakes. Why do we do them? I think the Japanese have the right idea, with a bow. I don't want to touch someone.
I think I get very lazy with a bow, though, because I don't like handshakes either, but I feel like, because I've got that kind of thing instilled in me from my dad of, like, you know, having a salute a magpie whenever you see it, because like, oh, one for sorrow, two for joy and stuff.
That's the most rural thing I've ever heard.
But my salutes, because my dad, he'll stop in the street and do a proper, like, salute when he sees it. But my salutes are so, like, just going to wave my hand at them and stuff. But, like, if I had to do a bow to people, I don't think I'd be doing it properly. I'd just be kind of like, you know, I'd give them essentially what I'm doing now, just a head nod. I'm just like, how's it going?
Yeah,
You know?
I think I'm a fan of, like, the sort of casual hand flip wave. That's
Better.
That's what I would do.
I'll do like a 2-finger, like, hey, how's it going? You know.
Ew, no, that's worse. Give me your whole
Not
hand
like
or nothing.
not finger guns, but like
No,
yeah.
you've got to do the full bisexual person finger guns.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
That's my preferred greeting.
Everyone needs to be on board with the finger guns.
And if
Come
I
on.
really, really respect you and it's like a somber situation, you get the pew pew.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Little laser beams.
Hey, and sometimes as well at the start, you've got to do a double click to let those suckers know these are loaded.
They're cocked.
I think I did that unintentionally without, I don't know if it picked up because they were soft, but before I did the pew pew and my finger guns.
I will say though, like, I think I've definitely left a mark with my friends though, because I know a lot of people who are like into big hugs goodbye and stuff, but every time it comes to me, I'm still just sitting, just like, it ain't gonna happen. And now they look at me as if like, yeah, of course it's not gonna happen. You don't do that.
Yeah, I'll only give you one when it's like a birthday or something.
All
And
right,
I'll go.
so Liz, next, just keep in mind that if we ever visit England and see these guys in person, do not touch them.
Oh, I don't like hugs in general either. I only
Good.
hug you guys because I am polite.
But say though, like Edward Nygma's handshake though, because it's two-handed. He's gripping his
He
elbow
is
with
excessive.
the other.
He
And
is
there's no like up and down motion. It's just like it's a he's
gentle
just like
caress.
holding on for dear life.
It's a real like I will never wash this hand again.
Yeah.
Kind of after.
But he's got to get the stink on there first.
Oh, yeah. You really got to grind that in.
Got to get it in them pores.
Oh, Brucey, baby.
Get it.
Oh, it would have been weird though. Like they did a kind of a slight Mallrats illusion, but
Yeah,
like Edward
stink
Nygma
palming him.
was or even if he was just like to make it even worse for him, just be like, oh, maybe he was innocently eating like pretzels or something.
Yeah.
And he forgot he had one in his hand, and now he's got chocolate all over Bruce Wayne's hand and stuff. And it's just like, oh my god, Mr. Wayne, oh, I'm so sorry and stuff.
Or he's eating chips in the American sense, crisps here. So he's got like greasy hands with like cheese dust
Or
on
yeah,
them.
Cheeto, as
Yeah,
people call it.
Cheetos.
Or you could even go like really subtle. That happens. He doesn't realize this happened, but then Bruce Wayne takes out his handkerchief and starts wiping his hand down. And
Yes.
it gets in Edward Nygma's head of like, oh, this friggin' snooty asshole just wiping his hand down after shaking hands with me and stuff, not realizing that's why Bruce did it.
I'd love
That could have all added into like his hatred of him later on. and
Actually,
stuff.
this is clearly a guy who eats Doritos and drinks Mountain Dew.
Well, it's the
He's
90s,
even got the green shirt
and he's in
on.
America, so yes.
And it's like, this is before Code Red, so we all had one choice.
Yep, there you go. So he would have just filthy hands. Like, oh,
I do have to say though, like in terms of like origins of the the character of the Riddler, this whole backstory of him working for Bruce Wayne, this is a complete not I was gonna say complete fabrication, but I guess the whole story is a complete fabrication.
no, it's
This
a true
never
story
happened.
now. What?
But it's a complete invention of the Bachelors from their first draft of the script.
Well, I like their move. I think it's good.
Oh no, it's a very, very good origin for him. But I think the original comic book origin of him was just that Edward Nygma was a kind of smug asshole who was good at. He was kind of smart, and then I think
He fell into a vat of crossword puzzle ink.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. His is even like it's such a kind of like kind of origin in terms of he was a guy in college and then he entered a puzzle solving competition.
Oh,
And then he broke in and took a picture of the solved puzzle so he could win it the next day. So he cheated, which is always the thing with Riddler. Is like as much of his pontificating about how brilliant he is, he's a dirty cheater. Basically, is all at every other turn. And then once he won, the prize they give him for winning this puzzle is a book of riddles. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get into riddles now." And he's so smug. Even the way they draw him, his Dick Sprang, drawing him.
What? His what?
his dick what?
His Dick Sprang,
That sounds terrible.
and that's why he limps all the time.
Yeah, I would too.
That's happened to me before. It's not pretty.
No.
But he gets into constantly challenging people to puzzles and stuff like that. But it's always skewed in his favor, so he's always cheating.
Oh, so he's like Smeagol or Gollum, I guess, by then.
Oh, there you go. And I think at one point they actually do have because as I said in the last episode, within the first couple of panels, I think they're saying like, "Oh, who could solve this riddle?" And he's like, "Well, I guess I could because my name is Edward Nygma, Mr. Enigma," and stuff like, "Oh, for Christ's sake." I think at one point then he becomes a carnival act about like, well, it's basically like a friggin' rigged ring toss thing he's got going on. Like, well, I'll ask a riddle if you can solve it, then you win. If you can't, if I can solve it, then blah blah blah. It's complete horse hockey and stuff. But and from that, then he starts realizing like, I'm so good at riddles. I could challenge the police. I could challenge Batman at this. And from that,
That's the logical leap to make, yeah.
Yeah, from that he becomes
I'm good
the
at
Riddler.
a thing. Let me see how I can make it a life of crime.
How do I do crimes with it?
That's what I want to know.
So like it's probably of all the Batman villains we've seen thus far in this franchise, it's definitely one of the worst comic book origins of just in terms of like, I was a guy, I liked the thing, now I'm making that thing my whole thing.
Making it evil.
It's weird because it's in comparison to Harvey Dent, who has like probably one of the greatest villain origin stories of like all of comics and stuff. So it's like it is yin and yang basically with these two guys.
Ah, that was deliberate.
Maybe that's what they're going for. Like, we'll get a really stupid villain and then a really good one.
And ironically, the stupid one is clever.
Oh.
But I think though in post-crisis thing where they tried to make things a bit more like a little less silly. They added in an element where like he had an abusive father and stuff who like refused to believe that he could actually solve these puzzles he claimed to be solving, so he'd always beat him up and stuff. And then Edward Nygma got in his head like, I have to be the best at these things to kind of prove myself to my dad and all this kind of stuff. And then he develops a psychology of like he is the best. he is obviously the best, the most intelligent of all these, Neanderthals that surround him and stuff. And then, once he comes up against Batman, who has continually outsmarted him, he's just like, I can't freaking believe that this guy keeps beating me and stuff. Which is all origins that aren't really in this movie. It's kind of like, you do get a little bit of smug Edward Nygma later on, but I never really feel the need that he's competitive with Batman in as much as, like, I need to outsmart him. It's just more like he is my nemesis. And
yeah, and he barely does try and outsmart him. He asks him about 2 riddles in the whole bloody movie.
And he writes them as love notes, not as actual, like, competitive riddles.
Yeah. It's weird.
But yeah. So we'll get all into that. But, these are only the opening minutes of Edward Nygma. But within the comics, all this, Wayne Enterprises employee stuff was not the case. So
I do love the plot point they go with, though, here, where he's like, "You're my idol. Some people have been trying to keep us apart."
It's very much like creepy stalker, crazy, like girlfriend in the bushes.
I wish they
single
actually
white
went...
he-male.
I actually wish they went further with it. I think this movie's too restrained.
I think they could have done that with, like,
its potential.
Gripping his wrist, and his other hand is holding his hand. He is kind of stroking his palm with his finger.
John, if you tell Joel Schumacher your last Batman movie was too restrained, you know what you get? You get Batman and Robin.
Yes.
Well, don't you think, though? Like, this could have been creepy.
Oh, yeah.
It could have been terrifying. This guy in love with Bruce. Like, a bit Hannibal, with Hannibal and Will.
Well, Jim Carrey plays that part, too, in The Cable Guy. Like, 2 years later or something? Like, they totally did that. But I guess maybe that's where they got the idea to cast Jim Carrey. Like,
I think it would have been fantastic if they had taken it to a much more darker, like, obsessive level rather than this. This is, like, uncomfortable level of fawning, but you don't get, like, wow, if I ever get too close to this guy, he might wind up with my face for a hat.
Yeah, this is like...
It's not that dark.
This is like Diet Creeper.
Yeah, this is saccharine and like, fawning, but it's not necessarily nefarious.
It's stalker-like.
Carey perfects that performance, as you said now, in The Cable Guy. That's what he should be doing here. That's how it should be written. Where you want to be scared, like, this guy's so in love with Bruce, he's going to kill him so nobody else can be close to him.
Well, that's the thing, though, because one person we did see doing that kind of creepy, stalkery stuff in a later movie was also Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo and stuff. So
that was great too.
Could you imagine that, George? Though, if you're as not a Robin Williams fan, if he played him Edward Nygma in that size, something you called him in 1 Hour Photo, but like if he played him in that manner, at least
that would
in the
be
beginning,
awesome. That would be great. And it's really weird because I was thinking about my statement earlier about like not liking these over the top comedians like when they're acting like themselves, but I'm starting to think that given the way they tend to be in their personal lives, that their dark and non crazy characters are probably more realistic. Mm-hmm. And like the person that you're seeing on screen usually is like the stage persona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really sad to think about, though, isn't it? Because you see Jim Carrey in this era, and you're like, "Oh, this guy's cool. He's fun. He's happy."
It's his escape.
And then you find out what he's been through since, and you're like, "Oh, oh no."
But you gotta think if he was like this in his day-to-day life, he would be infuriating to live with.
Oh, you'd hate him.
Would you be Fred Stickley? Like I feel for this guy.
It's kind of like his wife is like, if you say, "Let me show you something," once you come out of the bathroom one more time, I am leaving you.
I'm curious about that though, because him saying like, some people have been trying to keep us apart, as if Stickley's had to prevent Bruce Wayne from meeting Edward Nygma before.
Oh yeah, that's the impression I got. Like he's been saying like no, and he's maybe he's been trying to get him out of the office for the day. Like you go and do that, and he's like, no, I'm gonna meet my hero.
Yeah, he's had weeks of him coming to him with the box and been like, yeah, why don't you send it upstairs? Why isn't Bruce Wayne down here looking at my invention now? This thing's brilliant. You have to see this. And he's like, oh, for God's sake, Edward, would you leave me alone? You're not gonna get meeting him and stuff. But I love everything about Ed Begley Jr. in this movie. But like I love throughout Bruce and Edward's talk, all his exasperated, sort of vaguely disgusted facial expressions he's doing, and I do love his holding everything of his frustration back to work, Edward. Like this. I love this guy.
it's great because he's restraining himself, but at the same time, he's not. He can't hide his anger in this moment. He looks furious, but he doesn't want to shout in front of Bruce.
I'm just wondering though, what's Bruce's take on this though? Because you would assume Bruce Wayne's a perceptive guy.
He
must
seems
be
pretty
like,
oblivious to me.
yeah. I wonder if he's just like, just for giggles. I'm just like, what's this creepy weirdo want from me? Like, I've got my generic thug Jon Favreau over here to take care of me if anything happens.
Well, he's also, I think, in the back of his mind of like, if it goes pear-shaped, I am Batman.
Yeah. But this is a guy who's that oblivious. He doesn't seem to catch on to Chase coming onto him constantly for the first half of the film. And all she does is come onto him.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. He's just still on my mind's still down in the cave when I was a child. But
His mind needs to be in his pants.
Actually, speaking of Chase Meridian, this is the second uncomfortable handshake for Bruce Wayne in the whole movie, where Chase Meridian seized Batman's hand earlier and introduced herself. Edward Nygma.
Well, that's another symbol that it should be a weird, creepy, in-love stalker angle. Look, it's a parallel. He's even shaking his hand like Chase did.
This is why they flipped everything at the end of the movie, and Bruce Wayne and Edward Nygma actually got together, and Bruce is like, Edward, you know what? We are two of a kind. We should partner up with this box thing.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
You said got together, and I thought you meant romantically. And I was like, wow, do that in the 90s. You would have blown everyone's mind.
They could develop a brotherhood bond, like Darrow and Cassius, and then like have it shattered later, and that revolt.
Nobody knows what you mean.
I know. I did specifically for your benefit, Liz. By the way, everyone listening, go read or listen to the audiobook of Red Rising by Pierce Brown.
We do have then, Edward does see his opportunity pop up, and he does, much like Bruce Wayne's hand, he does seize it. And Bruce is like, so tell me, Ed, what's on your mind? And, precisely. What's on all our minds? And then we see I'm assuming the watch fell that way. He's got his watch at a weird angle where it's at the corner of his wrist. Is that weird to anybody else, or?
It's probably just like he wears it too big to highlight how weak and
like unkempt,
frail he is as a person.
Yeah, he's too skinny.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it on its tightest, and it's still flopping about.
Yeah,
fair enough.
And also, because to show he doesn't care about his appearance, he's a dork, he's a dweeb. Normally you'd show that, with a bit of tape on the glasses and the shirt buttoned up wrong.
But this guy just doesn't have enough respect for himself to get his watch sized properly.
Yeah, this is Schumacher sanitized crazy.
Yeah, he goes off and declaring that the future of Wayne Enterprise is brainwaves. And again, love the delivery from Stickley of like, I apologize, Mr. Wayne. I personally terminated his project this morning. And of course, then Edward Nygma hauls out I was going to say the MacGuffin of the movie. It was not really a MacGuffin. It's just sort of a plot point.
The Blendomatic 3000?
Yeah.
That is just a blender, right?
Yeah.
This looks it's too comical. I hate it. It looks like something Venkman would have used in Ghostbusters to scam people.
It looks like something I would have used to make a prop when I was as old as I was when this movie came out.
Yeah, you'd take it into school or something.
Well, that is one thing. Because I was like, well, wouldn't Wayne Enterprise they wouldn't be having the guy use a blender. Like, this seems homemade. And in the novelization, it does mention, Stickley does say, like, this was not done in company time. He's just brought this in himself. He's been telling me about it, but this has nothing to do with our company. We didn't put any money into this. And I think maybe, like, I don't know if there was something that it is alluded to, because, Stickley does have to say, I personally terminated this project this morning. So this is on Wayne Enterprises company time. He's made this thing. But he's still
technically Wayne Enterprises own it then.
Well, I think that's in the novelization later on, where it alludes to the idea that Bruce Wayne could sue Edward Nygma, because he's like, well, you use Wayne materials to make this thing. Now you started your own industry. But Bruce is just like, let him go. Like, I got enough money, I'm okay. And later on, regrets that. But the fact that like they've given him, it looks as if he made this in his garage. This looks like Robin Williams in Flubber would have made this.
Yeah.
And it seems like they should have. I guess everything about Edward Nygma at this point is supposed to be kind of taped together and hodgepodge and stuff.
It just feels like it'd have some more refinement, even if it is a prototype. Given the fact that it's Wayne Tech, it should be like looking like something a bit more approaching like streamlined versus the
blender sellotape to a helmet.
Yeah.
I do. A part of me does wish that, like, after Bruce leaves, Edward Nygma, you just hear in the background, he's just like, "Oh, this is our other inventor, Rand, Mr. Wayne." And you just hear like, "Oh, Mr. Wayne, imagine you're late for the big meeting," and just goes in the whole. Bruce Wayne just goes out to be Batman, but he's covered in like shaving foam and stuff. He's like, "God damn it!"
Oh, sorry, we're working on that.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
But yeah, one thing about the box is, and maybe the thing at this point though, they don't call it the box, so I feel like I know in the outro I did write an allusion to the box, but it's like it is the box, but they don't call it the box yet. But
what's in the box?
It's a working title.
But like the thing at the top, like the blender, seems to be full of some kind of crystals.
It's like that packing stuff that they
silica gel or just salt. Just big grain rock salt.
Or it looks like almost like fake snowflakes.
What is it supposed to be in the movie?
It's a brainwave amplification gel.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Duh.
Would it have been too much to make them green?
Yeah.
Just so it would be tied into the whole Riddler? Because then you could...
That's too on the nose.
Look, that in
For this movie?
my personal fan theory, like if they went that way, is that because this movie does mention Metropolis later, you could have had the box is actually powered by kryptonite. Like it's just that they don't know what it is yet, but it's like this weird mineral that is all around the world and stuff. And then
Nicolas Cage's Superman could have come into the scene.
100%. Tim Burton's back in somehow. Like, me and Nick Cage are coming to blend our universes together.
We brought Shaquille O'Neal with us.
Oh, even better.
Like Judd Nelson's still the bad guy somehow. Like, God damn it, I got rid of this guy.
I'd be watching.
I have to also ask, what the hell is that thing in the background? Like the tower. It looks like one of the old mad scientists, with the the little crystal ball thing with all like the thing at the start of the X-Files. You see with all the thing.
Yeah, it's like one of those you could buy them, and like all the nerdy kids would have one.
That's the backside of Nygma's office. No, it is, because that's where he came out from earlier when he was coming to introduce himself.
But what is it though?
Yeah, but what's the thing? What purpose does it serve? Like, I
think it's just like a wall because he has all that stuff hanging on it.
No, I mean the great big orange thing with all the electric stuff seemingly coming off it.
I thought you meant like
generic
the whole wall
science thing.
Now. And I was distracted by the Christmas tree behind his back right at the very end of the minute. Is it the time of year again already? Another Gremlins tie-in?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why we got you on, really.
Nightmare Before Christmas, Tim Burton. What?
Yeah. Well, I want
to do a Nightmare Before Christmas show one year. That'd be good.
Oh man, you know what it would have? As much as I love Ed Begley Jr., you know what I would have loved even more if Stickley was Christopher Lee and it was just the same guy from Gremlins 2.
Yeah, there you go. He could have been the exact same character.
Yeah.
I terminated this project this morning.
He really hates that electric things. It's like, well, I was electrocuted at one point in my previous job, It's
very uncomfortable.
So this device, though, as we've hinted at, it beams a TV signal directly into the human brain.
That sounds terrible.
I wonder what could possibly go wrong. Even so, right, it's not quite what we were expecting when you do find out.
You can watch fish
weird
swim.
Plot point. Yeah, you can watch fish swim. And the negative thing that comes out of it, there's no point beating around the bush. I'll just say it. Yeah, it ends up siphoning intelligence. Now, I didn't remember that at all before I rewatched this for the show. What a weird plot that this movie has.
Especially if the character is already supposed to be super smart, why would he feel like he needed more intelligence?
I guess because it's not respected. That's about all I can come up with.
I guess he is, like, if they're going for the idea that he's, like, self-loathing and very, downtrodden and shy and stuff, like, he considers it, like, it's making him superior, that it's his way into, like, yes, I'm smarter than everybody else, so I'm the smartest man in the room and stuff. So if he's now he's
but it doesn't harm others, as we've pointed out. It doesn't make everyone stupider.
Well, that's the thing though, because it's like I think we, at one point, John, like after you rewatched it, was like, oh yeah, it is a bit of a weird plot, but at the same time, and a guy who has access to all the information in the world, because he says at the end of the movie, like, oh, credit card details, bank codes and stuff, but he could be like, oh yeah, nuclear war codes, I know everything about everything. It's
Those
like,
aren't stored on a digital format.
I think it's more like it's more
Even back
about
then.
secrets than knowledge, though, or intelligence. It's actually like just stealing their secrets, and not even stealing them, but it's just like copying their secrets to his hard drive.
yeah.
As opposed
They should
to
emphasize that.
as opposed to acquiring knowledge.
I think it almost would be like kind of better today, because the threat of having everybody's personal information is a thing you always see pop up in the press
Niall,
and
don't
stuff.
get zucked.
Exactly, but that's the thing though. It's like what Edward Nygma is like, oh yeah, he could go and rob your bank account, I guess, because he's got your bank code. But this guy could literally kind of blackmail his way to any position he wants, because he has all this.
This is a way more terrifying result of his stuff. But back then in the 90s, what was on the internet that he could have accessed? This is before there were really any online transactions. It was all just chat rooms and porn.
Hey, if he got a box into the White House, he could have cleared up that Clinton Monica Lewinsky situation within 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But with regards to this, the Goldsman draft describes Nygma here again in another way I quite like, because it says, it's hard to imagine anyone more awkward. The effect is painful. Folks stare, mouths wide. And I don't think that comes across so much in the finished one. Only his boss is being kind of awkward with him. I want all of his colleagues to be kind of mocking him and things, and giggling behind him and stuff, because that's the way it's described. It's just, this guy is the worst.
I guess one thing left to wrap up then. Oh, actually, now at this point, we would ask the guests about their history with this movie.
If you have any.
Yeah.
I am sure this was on TV at some point around me in the past, and I swore I had seen it, but I watched it last night and I was like, I don't know, maybe I've never seen this movie.
Don't worry, I didn't remember most of it either.
I saw this in the theater and maybe twice on VHS when it came out, and that's probably the extent of it.
Oh.
But like as adult humans living in a post-Nolan, post-Snyderverse, Batman world, what is your
I prefer this
perception
Batman.
Oh, nice.
I don't like the Nolan movies.
Oh, just at all? Because
No,
overall, this
not at all. No.
I like most of the Nolan movies, but this not my favorite. I like Christian Bale better than Val Kilmer's Batman, and just the movie in general, obviously, because it's a vastly superior movie over in tone and in pacing, and then lack of weird CGI backgrounds. But yeah, it's just, there's something. It just, this one pushes it too far into like the camp zone, but not
Without
so far
going
that
far
we get
enough.
like the 1960s Batman, that it's completely lacking in. It's not very memorable at all.
I will agree with that. I feel like it suffers from a lot of the same things that I felt Catwoman suffered from, is that it doesn't push the camp far enough. So it's too campy to be enjoyable as just, for being a movie I want to watch. And it's
like a serious kind of
it's
thing.
too campy to be serious, and it's not campy enough to be fun, like truly fun.
Farcical.
Yeah. And
I get that. It's got one foot in each camp, hasn't it? One foot in Tim Burton's school, so to speak, and another foot in the 60s.
yeah,
So-
and so I think that's why I truly enjoy Batman and Robin, and I think that it's because it is just that little extra bit goofball.
Yeah.
But
I get that.
I have to say though, Batman Forever versus Catwoman. Where do you sit, Liz?
See, to me, that's easy. Oh my god. My god. That's got to be an easy decision. Come on.
It's probably this.
Yeah.
I was gonna word there for a second.
I
gotta be
had to
this.
remember some things about Catwoman.
This is at least a film.
Well, that's true. Because now what Catwoman is to me is like the podcast episode about the movie.
I would recommend that instead of watching.
I think it's better. It's much better, the podcast, than the movie.
Would you be disappointed to hear, though, that at one point there's a deleted scene of Bruce Wayne and Chase Meridian getting coaxed by small children into playing basketball competitively in a...
Gross.
No.
Get out.
Cut out. It says in the red edition.
Well, Niall, we're getting on here. We're gonna have to cut loads of this out. So you're gonna have to reveal to us the answer to the riddle because I can't work it out.
So shall
Give
I
it to us again, and then give us like 5 seconds to think about it.
Okay, so the riddle is, I weigh nothing, but you can still see me. If you put me in a bucket, I make the bucket lighter. What am I?
So we said air, and it wasn't like, that wasn't it. Darkness.
I bet it's something really obvious, and it's going to annoy me to the point where I punch you.
Yes,
Like-
it is. Like most good riddles, the answer is just frustrating when you hear it.
No, this isn't making good podcasting.
Like a hole or
Dreams.
space.
You got it, George.
What?
A
hole?
A hole.
Oh,
I weigh nothing, but you can still see me.
Because I was
if
also
you put me in a
thinking
bucket.
crack or something like that would make the bucket leak, but that seems like
a hole would
accidental.
make the bucket leak.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was okay.
yeah.
You did it.
A hole by itself doesn't make it lighter, though. It needs to have content within it as well.
Well, true.
Well, no, technically, if you put a hole in a bucket, whatever amount of wood you remove or whatever metal, that's that much lighter.
But you might not be removing it if you're just punching a hole through because
Right.
it's just
'cause
bending
it's still
outward.
there.
Screw you, riddle.
This riddle's bull.
I think that's from even the riddles in the past few weeks. Even from me knowing the answers, I'm like, yeah, you riddle, because it's just like I think they're just designed much like the Riddler character himself, I guess, just to be kind of annoying.
Well, yeah,
Yep.
because that's how you win the riddle game when you're in a
Yeah,
cave
you gotta
with
remember-
a creature that wants to eat you.
Yeah, riddles were developed back before television existed.
There wasn't a lot going on.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, we could stare at the fire or we can make up stupid riddles that are like, just
That's
to
why
show
they
that I'm
invented.
smug.
That's why they invented like the radio and books and stuff, because they're just like, I fucking hate
So
these
sick
riddles.
of riddles.
No
We
more
gotta find
riddles.
something else to do.
Drink your Ovaltine.
Oh, I've been drinking Ovaltine every night lately.
I like Ovaltine. I think it's good.
I know I'd never had it until 2 weeks ago. I'm 33, and I was like, you know what? I'm now officially old, so I'm going to drink Ovaltine before bed. It's lovely.
I still don't think I've ever had Ovaltine, and I'm older than you. Barely.
It's like a richer,
recommend
maltier
it.
chocolate milk.
Yeah. Even the plain one you get that isn't chocolate, because there's a normal one that's just malt and milk.
Oh, I've only ever had chocolate Ovaltine.
Oh, I had that first. I was like, I'll go with that because I know what I'm getting. And then there's like a plain kind of one where it's just milk and malt. It's even better.
Interesting.
It's amazing.
As-
Oh, it's good.
I'm enjoying the fact that John was the one to say like, oh, we were getting on here, and now you've just sidetracked us to talk about Ovaltine out of nowhere.
More Ovaltine,
Yes,
please.
we will wrap up. So one final time, would you both like to tell our listeners where they can find you online if they want to get in touch or check out your podcasts?
Liz, go right ahead.
Snapchat. You can follow us on Snapchat. I don't know how
Hell
to
yeah,
use it.
that's unique.
but-
Follow our snaps. We're going to have so many sweet filters.
And if you pay extra, you can get nudes. I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah. Well, trust me, Patreon's going to get real interesting.
That's good.
Pictures of Sting in a thong, everything.
Be like Dune-based Snapchat filters will be like giving you those purple eyes, I guess.
blue
They're
and
blue within blue.
Blue within blue.
Oh yeah!
Come on, Niall.
And then like a giant sandworm coming out of your head, maybe
Sure.
turning your face into a sandworm, I guess.
Actually, that would be the
I'm-
blue and blue eyes would be a cool filter.
Yeah.
Let's figure that out. Let's learn computer engineering.
Let's email Snapchat. Like, listen, this is what we need.
The kids are all about June.
Well, if they do it in the next movie, you could be ahead of the curve. But been like, hey, this movie's going to come out, and you never know. It could be friggin' huge. You want to get in on this right now.
Get in on the ground floor, Snapchat.
Isn't that actor in it, Timothy? What's his face?
Chalamet.
Him, yeah. Everyone thinks he's like really, really cute. Mm-mm. So it might be a hit with the younger crowd.
He's one of those things.
Who's going to be on Snapchat.
I see him and I'm like, I don't get it. So he is this generation's Chris O'Donnell, apparently.
Bringing it back.
Although Timothy Chalamet is Robin, hey, that could happen. You never know.
Ooh, I'd be on board. But so do check out the Snapchat, and I'm going to do my coin toss now. So we're going to see first off if the guest is coming back on Monday. Right, I've got a new system here. We're going to see if the guest returns. So, heads, let's go with heads. They return.
All right.
No.
Oh.
Sorry, guys. You're going to have to go.
Okay.
We're going to have to get rid of you. You can't come back.
Damn.
So now I need to decide
whether we get to
if we are letting you walk free,
or we go to your murder dungeon,
or you go to the murder dungeon. And I sap all of your intelligence, of which there is a huge amount. Massive intelligence on these two. So, are we killing them? Heads.
I'm just thinking, if you sap Liz's intelligence, you could come 8th in a Mean Girls quiz. That might be happening near you.
Exactly. Think about that 8th in a Mean Girls quiz. At the moment, I'm only placing 10th.
That was a very difficult quiz. It was super.
Not for 7 other people.
Well, I think they cheated.
They were listening to the Mean Girls Minute under the table the whole time.
They're fresh. You're not.
Got to break.
Yeah.
I've got to break something to you. I didn't cheat. I've tossed the coin. Heads were for death. And it's landed on heads.
Do we get to choose the way we go, or is it going to be something stupid?
It's got to be something amusing and based around June, so worm-based. There's going to be worms, baby.
Oh, I was going to go with the Monty Python sketch where I get chased off a cliff by a bunch of topless women.
Okay, I'll take requests. No, I'll drag them away to the dungeon.
Sorry, Liz, apparently you get to do that one too, so let's
Great.
go.
And on that bombshell, we will go into the dark, dark night. Come and talk to us on the Bat-Minute Listener's Cave before we are arrested and dragged away once the authorities listen to all of our nefarious deeds on the show. And buy our merch on TeePublic to pay for our legal fees there.
Because of all the murders you do.
For all the murders. There's been a murder every week so far, and I legitimately didnn't cheat this one, despite cheating the last few.
Also, you've been vindictively murdering the other guests.
Well, at least I know that I died honestly.
You did. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna cheat to get rid of them. Because we have to have a new guest every week, and then I'm gonna legitimately see if they die. And you did die, I'm sorry about that. But yes, join us again on Monday for more Batman Forever.
Next time, a bat bolt from adult. The shining sign of a bat beckoning light means Bruce must bid Ed good morrow. And in case he doesn't see him, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. But while the CEO must go and attempts an expo ejection, will his relentless rooter's invention be met with rejection? Find out next week. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.